Okay, welcome to another edition of the Bill Houston podcast. And I'm Bill Houston coming at you from the new podcast studio. Thanks for joining us. Today, I want to talk about my friend Ray Kimball. There he is. And the reason why I wanted to talk about Ray Kimball is because, as you probably have heard, he's being sued by the gas industry. Cabot Oil and Gas is suing him for $5 million in order to shut him up. And if you know Ray, he's not the kind of person to shut up so easily. So he's continuing to speak out about what happened to him and his drinking water. There's his drinking water right there. There's a jug of it. He lives in Demick, Pennsylvania, and his water first became contaminated in 2009, and it's never been fixed. It's never been remedied. Ray has to truck in water. He's got a 500-gallon tank on the back of a truck, and he has to drive 7 or 8 miles into Montrose and fill up his water that he pays for onto this truck that he maintains at his own expense in order to bring water to his own home. So just recently wanted to tell you this: Ray was the recipient of was one of 3 recipients of the 2017 Frack Tracker Community Sentinel Awards for environmental stewardship. There's a picture of the award. I've seen it. It's beautiful. And there he is in Pittsburgh just a couple weeks ago, where he received the award from that's Doug Shields and Dr. Sandra Steingraber. There he is speaking. So, little brief history here. So, Ray actually lives, here's this house in the center of that circle. In this blue area is what's called the Demick impacted area, which Cabot Oil and Gas was banned from any gas development activity, drilling or fracking, in these 9 square miles back in 2010. Now, within a 6-mile radius of his home, he has, can you take a guess? It's actually 400 gas wells. I made this map, and I got the data straight from the PADEP SPUD database. And each of these little red dots, every well, requires 2,000 to 4,000 truck trips. So you can imagine the nuisance that Ray has endured for the last almost a decade, coming up on about 9 years. So it's been quite a nuisance, in addition to the fact that his water is contaminated. There's that jug of brown Demick water. They call it lovingly Demick lemonade. So Ray needs a lot of help. He's permanently disabled. He has 3 forms of cancer, and he has a broken back. And still, he educates people, and he advocates for clean water for everybody. And just by telling people the factual events of what happened to him and his well water in Demick, Pennsylvania. So here's another interesting thing about Ray's case that's super important, that makes Ray's case very, very important for people to understand. Back in 2012, okay, first, what's the Canard that the gas industry people always say over and over again, right? What is it? They always say, there's not one example of a case anywhere where hydrofracking has contaminated groundwater ever. That's what they say, right? You've probably heard, they've been saying that since 2010. You've heard them say that over and over again, repeated in the press. Well, guess what? It's simply not true, because it happened right here in Demick, Pennsylvania, because of this very unusual circumstance, right, where gas drilling was actually prohibited inside the box, inside this 9 square mile box that was Cabot Oil and Gas was banned in 2010, December 15th of 2010. They were banned by the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection from drilling or fracking anywhere inside this 9 square mile box. And the reason is because they contaminated at least 19 private water wells. So in 2012, Cabot, they were continuously pestering the DEP, saying that they were in compliance with these consent orders, and they convinced the PADEP to allow them to frack 7 wells that are inside that this 9 square mile box right here. Now, Cabot, in fact, only fracked, as far as we can tell, 6 of the 7 wells. And there's 2 here, there's 2 here, 1 here, 1 here. The Hibbard, 2 Hibbard wells, Baker 3, 2 Guessford wells, and a Kelly well. And once again, here's Ray's house right in the center of the 9 square mile Demick impacted area. So where has this happened before, where there was, so what they say is the gas company people, when it's a good day, they will admit that drilling caused groundwater contamination, or maybe surface spills, something like that. But in Demick, there's this very rare case. As far as we know, it hasn't happened anywhere else, perhaps in the world, where there was fracking alone with no associated drilling activity because of the ban. So this very unusual situation, after these wells were completed, completion is another name. That's what the frackers call fracking, the actual completion stage where they use the water and the sand. They call that completion. We say fracking. So when these wells, these 6 wells were fracked, there was brand new water contamination in at least Ray's home and 3 other homes in the area here that became newly contaminated. Ray's water actually became worse than it ever had been previously as the result of this fracking alone that happened October and November in 2012. So if you visit my blog, if you just search for Bill Houston blog, there it is, you'll find this article. Sunday, December 3, 2017, Frack Tracker Award recipient Ray Kimball on trial December 11th. That's what I wanted to tell you about. So if you go to my blog, there's all kinds of details, but basically Ray is going to be on his first hearing. Cabot is suing him for $5 million to shut him up. So his first trial is going to be, his first hearing, I should say, is Monday, December 11th at 9:30 a.m. That's this coming Monday at the Susquehanna County Courthouse, 105 Maple Street in Montrose, PA, 18801. People are calling this the fracking trial of the century. So I really want to see you and all my other good friends in the fractivist community, Pennsylvania, New York, if you live close, Massachusetts or Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, Ohio even, please come to this trial because it's so very important. Some of the issues are going to be about these gag orders where there's this public health crisis due to gas well, contamination, gas drilling activity contaminating private water wells. And they try to silence people with these gag orders. So that's one of the important issues that's going to be coming up, among others, including, like I said, this issue where it's the proof that fracking alone does cause water contamination. So anyway, there it is. Let me put up the graphic again so you can see it on my blog. So it's the fracking trial of the century. There it is, Ray's first hearing in Cabot's $5 million slap suit against Ray Kimball, Monday, December 11th at 9:30 a.m., Susquehanna County Courthouse in Montrose, PA. This is the fracking trial of the century, folks. Ray is a living legend. He has famous artists. This is an acclaimed graphic artist named Charlotta Jansen. She painted a painting there. It says "Last Man," and there's Ray smoking a cigar with his classic middle fingers, dual middle fingers right there. That's a classic Ray pose. And once again, no one should be forced to trade free speech for clean water. That's what it's all about, friends. So Ray is actually also trying to raise funds. He is permanently disabled, as we said before, and he's got a fundraiser. He's halfway to raising necessary funds. He needs about $5,000 more to save his home. So if you can donate, go to tinyurl.com/lastmanstandingin Demick. That's where you go to donate. And when you do, you go to this youcaring.com site. Last Man Standing in Demick, Ray Kimball. He needs about $5,000 more to save his home. So if you can donate even $25 more, if you can, I know Ray would greatly appreciate it. So, okay, there it is. Once again, I want to see you coming to the Susquehanna County Courthouse next Monday, December 11th at 9:30 a.m. Be there. This is the fracking trial of the century, friends. So be sure to visit my channel on YouTube, the Bill Houston Podcast, and subscribe. That's very important to subscribe. So there it is. We will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.